What is up? My name is Garrett at Yogurt on Twitter, YOOGRRTT. Thank you so much for tuning into the Now Notation YouTube channel. Welcome back to another album review. Today we are talking about Maxo Kream's Brandon Banks. And, you know, Maxo Kream is somebody who definitely has never gotten enough credit on this channel and definitely doesn't get enough credit, just period, I feel like. There's such a viscosity that he has where it's just like such a cool level of aggression, but it's backed by such beautiful imagery painted by some excellent lyricism, beautiful delivery, as well as just like this eclectic range of beats that he manages to really find a very cool equilibrium between old school styles, new school feels, and just blending them to make this very new school take on, again, old school feels. It's awesome. It's very, very cool. And this fucking album in particular, in my opinion, is a masterpiece, but not only for his discography, but just in general. I think this is such a cool feeling album. I have been out of frame for most of this review because I am just undertaken with just how fucking phenomenal I've been finding myself enjoying this thing. It is a coming-of-age tale from what I've collected, but it also provides, again, just some of the most real-ass imagery with topics of addiction, as well as just growing up in maybe very rural, as well as just poverty-stricken areas, and talking about the grind, as well as just the need, the want, and just the execution of getting out of that, but also progressing within that system and growing within that system. And like those topics are talked about in some of the most real and tangible ways that I've felt in a long time, as far as like just hitting me over the head with a world that I am not familiar with on a personal level, but providing context to that side of life and just painting it in the way that he did is something that I am just, again, undertaken with. Let's kind of look at the track listing real quick. Track number 1, you have the lead single, which is Meet Again. Track number 2, you have Bissonette or Bisonette. I'm not quite sure. My bad. Track number 3 is Change. Track number 4 is The Relays featuring Travis Scott. Track number 5 is 8 Figures. Track number 6 is She Lived featuring Megan Thee Stallion. Track number 7 is Drizzy Draco. Track number 8 is 3 AM featuring Schoolboy Q. Track number 9 is Spice Lane. Track number 10 is Murder Block featuring ASAP Ferg. Track number 11 is Pray to the Dope. Track number 12 is Brenda, followed by Brothers featuring KCG Josh. Track number 14 is Diary. Yeah, sorry. No, Dairy. Why am I struggling? Is Diary and Dairy the same spelling? This is really fucked up, but I think it's Dairy Asher Bastard. But it also could be Diary Asher Bastard, and I apologize. But track number 15 to close it all out is Still. Why the fuck am I struggling? I am having this really weird breakthrough right now that probably doesn't even exist in the human language or grammar or vocabulary. So disregard me. I am not the person to be guiding you on those topics. But I will talk to you about this album continuously because god fucking damn it. It is from track 1 to track 14, 15, You Are Just Told, one of the coolest stories that I've heard since 2013. And I was talking to a couple friends about this album, and I was saying this really does feel like, in a lot of times, that it is a product of that like 2014, 2013 era. And when you look back on his other albums, he always has the same, like, it's the same speaker, it's the same person taking you on this journey. But there's something so polished about this release on the Rock Nation label that I just whether it's Meet Again, where he is literally telling a story about him basically having to talk to one of his closest brothers, friends, who is behind bars at the moment, and he's not even able to go see him, so his only form of communication is like writing this letter and then waiting for a reply. And the way the song is written is literally like it is a letter that is running out of space on a page, and he's just filling out, and it continues on and on and on. And it's a long song, but it never once feels like he's not trying to complete the message here. And the message here is one of heavy feels. Like, it's definitely something that is hard to process and understand and actually like come to terms with, because if you think about that situation, how fucked that is, like in the way that he is talking about it so emotionally, but also like trying to stay strong for everybody in the situation as well. Like the execution of that theme, of that like idea, of that concept for a song, and to do it the way Maxo Kream masterfully did on this album, continuous fuckingly, like regardless of whatever the concept is, he is tackling it with full on, head on understanding of how he's going to do it, and doing it better than you would even fucking imagine. You continue on to some of my favorite tracks, and one of my favorite runs for this whole album is just starting at track 6 and just literally letting it play out to the end. But really, I want to focus in on track 6 through 10 to 11, really number 10. My favorite tracks, I will say, are Meet Again. Bissonette is fire as fuck. And then you go into She Live with Meg Thee Stallion. Meg Thee Stallion has the most like cliche textbook example of what a feature should be. They both maintain the same like cadence and flow, but she just comes in perfectly and adds so much to the song without like really doing so much different than what Maxo Kream laid out as like a concept and foundation for what the song would be or should be. And she maintains that like bubble and parameter, but shines so goddamn well without like really doing anything extravagant. It's just a fucking good ass feature, and that is a phenomenal song just on a writing level. I feel like everything just feels full, and when it ends you're just satisfied, and that is what you would need to have, or should just all you really should ask for from a song. Drizzy Draco has one of those things where the beat and the fucking song and the lyrics and the content, the meat of the actual track, kind of mesh into this one piece of ambiance where he's just going, and that is where you really see the Maxo Kream flow just kind of take over, and you're just like, man, this guy can go forever, and I want him to. I really want him to just go for 10 minutes on a song, and I'm okay if it's this type of shit where Drizzy Draco, you can restart that song 50 times and it's all good because it's that goddamn silky smooth. 3 a.m. with Schoolboy Q, cool ass feature. Schoolboy Q's voice with Maxo Kream's voice is just a cool ass just pairing. It works phenomenally. Spice Lane, this song paired with Murder Block is one of my favorite just like dualities of tracks. Like one, they're also quote unquote street names or like quote unquote areas, or you know, not literally necessarily, or they are, whatever, but the way they bounce off each other is really good. But really the standout track for myself, the one that I am just always going back to, is Murder Block with A$AP Ferg, Free A$AP Rocky. But Murder Block is one of those things where you cannot underestimate how good of a track it is when someone can just come in so fucking raw and just let it go. And then you have A$AP Ferg, who is the king of ad-libs in a lot of cases where it's just a lot of woo, woo, and then you're just letting it go. But when you match that up with like the content of Maxo Kream on this album and just on his discography, like that pairing and that like team up is so like, oh shit, no, duh. Like when you finally hear it, you're like, duh, this is a match made in heaven. Why have I not thought of this before? And again, like I'm not someone who's been paying close fucking attention with a magnifying glass over Maxo Kream's career. I've been a fan of songs like Roaches. He's done features with Playboi Carti, Suicide Boys, his Maxo 187 mixtape I remember kind of listening to. Like I definitely know the fucking track cover art. I just like can't pinpoint me like listening to it tentatively. Like I don't know, that's a foggy time period for me. But Pumpkin is definitely something that I remember coming out. I definitely didn't give it the time of day that it probably deserves after listening to this thing. So if there's one piece of advice, just don't sleep on this. Just go after it and fucking listen to it, because it's phenomenal. It's been out for about a week right now, but yeah, I just can't get enough of it. But Travis Scott, I know probably people want me to talk about that feature. It's cool. It works. It's just, I think the other features, the 3 other ones, and then even the song Brothers, that song is so deep and just talks about like having someone's back, whether it's by blood or just by connection or just by like fellowship of just like finding common ground with somebody, like building a relationship and maintaining it over like the course of years, and just the trials and tribulations that you go through with like the closest people that you are with in this life. Like the story that he tells and like the way he does navigate that topic is masterful. And I did send it to my brother and I was like, damn dude, like this shit's cool. I mean, it doesn't really like me and my brother didn't go through the same thing of like what they're talking about, like literally, but the concept and thematic relevance of like having a brother and loving the fuck out of him, like that is a cool ass story, and that is something that he does really well. So yeah, those are standouts. And he also talks about like relationships with his father, and there's like one line where he like says like, I'm glad you beat my ass. Like there's certain things where you're just like, damn dude, like the way he decides to talk about topics that most people would just kind of glaze over or like go too literally deep into, like he's able to, with his flow, to kind of just throw out lines that are almost like throwaway things or like asides that are just like add-ons to the overall concept. But again, they always come through with a level of imagery that is just unparalleled. Like really, his imagery in his lyrics are crazy, fucking crazy. Like this is some of the most like real talk and showing of drug addiction that I've heard in a long time, and it's fucking cool. This album is really a masterpiece, and I don't throw that word around very often, but I'm really feeling that fucking way. What do you think though? Because who the fuck am I? But yeah, this is Maxo Kream's Brandon Banks. This is my review. What is your review? Let me know in the comment section below. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the support on the videos. Always. I see a lot of you in the comments. I always try to reply and give you the little thumbs ups and the hearts and the whatnots, but it would be really cool if you shared this channel, if you know someone who does enjoy reviews or just is a fan of albums, and maybe there's an album that I've reviewed on this channel that maybe someone hasn't touched, and I've gotten those comments a lot, like on my little booty call album review. I was a big fan of that album, but I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, so not just the mainstream here, but yeah, if you could share this channel with somebody, I would really appreciate it. And regardless, I just appreciate you watching me talk about something like this. But yeah, thank you. Follow me on Twitter at YoGarrett, YoGRTT, Instagram as well. Now in rotation on those two platforms as well. Take care of yourselves. I love you so much. Bye.